Productions.
Hello, and welcome to Retro Reviews. The second one, to be exact.
Gordon's alive? Dive!
You must cool her blood. General Kala.
Who wants to live forever?
Dive! Hello. How's everyone doing today? Today, again, let me post the link. These are Poppins. If you've seen Flash Gordon, you love it. You think he's the savior of the universe. You may join the again, just to talk about the movie. This is an open invite for, this isn't a pop talk or anything. But this is to talk about the movie Flash Gordon in all its glory. We have not, so we did our first review last week of Total Recall, and
yeah,
I was thinking of which movie to do, and what message right there, but
oh no,
what better movie to continue my review streams than Flash Gordon? And now I was I enjoyed our Total Recall, but I wasn't really 100% into the whole movie because I had seen it before, and it is a good movie, but it was I was a little rusty with our first retro review, and I wanted to try the new format where we're going to do that. We're going to go for the movie, each of us. We're going to give our perspective on the plot. I'm not just going to recap it. Baron's going to recap it. Pacific's going to recap it. We're going to give it.
What?
I had to pay attention.
For the merciless, I do not recap anything.
I mean, I was supposed to pay attention to the film. What gives?
Dang, man!
Give
the future ruler of the galaxy notice next time.
I was sleeping, and I kind of fell asleep.
Show your loyalty to this stream. Fall upon your sword.
I'll make Mike fall on this sword. How's that?
Unfortunately,
thanks a lot.
You're what? Hey, it's a mean world.
Unfortunately, our fourth panelist could not be here due to insomnia, so we give him our. We hope he survived the battle of the snore. So we hope we will say we kind of missed him out because we did a watch party on this, and pretty soon in the future, I'm going to try to organize watch parties in my own Discord, and of course, I implore you do. Pacific, when he does his Pacific will have his reviews open for watch parties. So again, we're kind of jumping. He did Strange Brew, I did Flash Gordon, and we're gonna be hopping together to make this dynamic of reviewing these kick-ass movies like Flash Gordon. But
kick-ass,
yeah. But back to the movie itself. This was so I had watched this movie. I actually went ahead and watched this movie a couple days ago with my dad. I've seen this movie dozens of times, like I have with Total Recall, and my dad really loves this movie. He's like, you should just give this 5 stars on your Vudu account. And I did do that. I did give it 5 stars. Today we did a watch party, and for some reason I felt revigorated. And this isn't like I feel tired. I felt really renewed watching this movie because I kind of know it by heart, and rewatching it kind of gave me kind of nostalgia. And I wasn't born in this era, but I did grow up with this movie. Like I grew up with Star Wars. And the lines, the dialogue, we kept talking about the costumes, the sets, the kick-ass music by Clean. This movie is a banger. And I've heard people shit on this movie. And I think there needs to be, people need to understand what a movie is trying to do. This movie is not it's trying to be Star Wars, yes, but it's trying to do something new. It's trying to be a comic book. It's not trying to copy Star Wars completely. It's it's following what the comic book said. And I had read the comic book in elementary. We had the King Syndicate compilation that you could get from the library. I'm surprised they had that. But this is a pretty awesome movie. And I can't like repeat it enough. Flash Gordon, kick ass, 5 out of 5. Prince Baron tag.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I mean, when it comes right down to it, it's not a fair comparison to say if this Flash Gordon was trying to be like Star Wars. It's the other way around because George Lucas originally wanted to do a Flash Gordon movie, and he was denied that, which of course inspired him to do Star Wars. And one of the things that inspired Star Wars was Flash Gordon. And the one thing I have to have a take off of it that I have a slight disagreement with you, Crit. A lot of the influence of this movie was also based off the serials that they had back in the day. So it was more. This would be a comic book movie, definitely, but there's definitely a lot that was lifted from the serials with Buster Crabbe in it. Now, the great thing about this film is it's an homage. Yeah, it's campy. There's campiness to it, but it's done with respect. It's done with in an homage sense that we love this. We're having fun with this. The cast that they got put in there was amazing. Even the background cast members, you can go through and point them out who's who on there. And you've seen them in other films, including Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Empire Strikes Back. Because it was filmed in England, so they got a lot of those English actors and such. Timothy Dalton, Brian Blessed, Max von Sydow. I mean, for crying out loud, how can you go wrong with a cast like that? And the color palette. I mean, this film is like in the 60s in that sense, where it's like, okay, let's use every color available, and they did, and it worked. Yeah, and it worked. It wasn't like a Jackson Pollock painting. This was true art.
Especially, we watched the remastered version, and I gotta stress you enough. There's always a difference between every version you watch. The remastered 4K version that we watched, the colors were brighter than the one I have right here. But I would recommend, if anyone wants to purchase this movie, you gotta purchase the Arrow Blu-ray because it is the definite version, and I think the same print is in the Blu-ray. So even if you don't own a 4K, it should be the same remastered print in the. But this is a movie that that just bleeds. It bleeds bloom. It bleams a lot of colors and the saturation. This is a movie that you could showcase on your television.
Yeah.
So yes, highly recommend.
This was a beautiful print of this film. I mean, I was very impressed with how it looked, and of course, sounded, and everything about that. And if people have not seen this, and the detractors of the film, I don't think they really got it. That this was for fun. This is fun. This is a movie that, with a soundtrack by Queen, the operatic feeling of that soundtrack, this film makes you feel great afterwards. It's like you walk out with a sense of, yeah, kick ass, man. even more so, this should have been actually the first film that we should have done, besides other than Total Recall. Not that I'm saying Total Recall is a bad film, but I mean, man, you get a high off this movie. You get it.
It's well, it. I'll let Pacific go. So
the thing about this
Pacific
movie,
Northwest?
as I told you, Crit, I'd never seen this movie all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces, but I've never seen it all the way through. And
sure.
one of the real nice things about this movie is that it doesn't take itself too serious. It knows what it is.
Mhm.
It knows that it's a comic book adaptation. It knows that things get a little campy, but they still have fun with it. Even the actors, you can tell they're having fun with it.
Max von Scheido's just enjoying playing Ming. Probably having so much fun. It reminds me of Strange Brew a little bit. He was acting the same way. He really enjoyed playing the bad guy in this movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you see him some of these films that you wouldn't expect him to be in, such as Flash Gordon, Strange Brew, even the small cameo he had in Conan the Barbarian, you can tell he's enjoying it because it's not necessarily the typical roles he was known for, and it shows that as great an actor he passed away. As great an actor that he was, he didn't look down at roles like this, like many other actors in his stature would have.
No, he probably looked at it as an opportunity to chew up some scenery.
Yeah, which he did.
Yeah. You can tell. So the screens I'm showing, this is not the print we watched. This is it's not as bright and it's a little drab, but you need to watch let me see if there's a 4K. Let me see. Oh, here's the trailer of the 4K print. Like right here. Like, see how bright and colorful Ming is. This is a movie you need to just own on. This is a movie you just need to own the current remaster. This is how classic films in the 80s should be remastered, and I always stress this, that movies like this need to. I think Star Wars did not get the proper remaster because Disney they have the worst. I think Disney just hates remastering. Put a lot of DNR and stuff into there. That's not true.
Right.
But maybe I think it's because of the special edition prints. I'm talking about DOT. But yeah, this is
whoa.
That was loud.
It was great.
Yeah. But back to talking about Flash Gordon. I guess I'll give you a rundown of the story, and then I'll do some parts. But basically, it begins with Ming the Merciless. He's bored and he decides to play around with Earth, and and this kingdom Mongo, just hurls earthquakes and hail and stuff and all the worst things you can imagine playing around with Earth. He's a bad guy already. So then then we meet Flash Gordon, who is a quarterback for the New York Jets. And he meets I think she's a reporter, Dale Arden.
No, she's a travel. I think she's a travel agent.
Travel agent.
I know she's a travel agent. So, I gotta say though, even though I like this movie and I like Dale, I have one negative about this movie, and that is the actress that plays. She adds to the charm, I guess you could say, but compared to everything else, I don't think she was like Sam Jones. I didn't know if you knew this, Pacific and Baron. Well, I think Baron knows, but Sam Jones' voice, that's not his voice. That he was dubbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was dubbed over. but he still had charisma somewhat.
Mhm.
I never felt all the cringiest lines I felt like were given to Dale, but I think that adds to like the 1940s feel. She's, your typical romantic, and
Mhm.
um, but I don't think it was the character. I think it was the actress. But she did her best. She's no Margot Kidder.
Are you
I
kidding
will.
me?
I would have loved to see Margot Kidder, but it's the kind of the same role, so it could kind of be a
Mm,
typecast.
yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Marco Kidder, uh, but either I think there could have been somebody other than Melody Anderson doing that, but I didn't think she did that bad of a part. But um,
But
she's Canadian.
of
What do you expect?
of the best role, of the best of the three main leads, it's Zarkov, Flash, and Dale. It's Zarkov's the best.
Oh,
The
Chaim Topol. Yep.
from Fiddler on the Roof.
Hmm.
If I was a rich man, no. He just he makes this role serious and then comical at the same time. And
Hmm.
that goes for the whole movie in essence. But it kind of the whole beginning feels. It just feels like it sets the tone of the movie. It's comedic but yet serious at the same time. So
Hmm.
and it's kind of ominous,
Ominous.
ominous.
Ominous. Da, 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 da.
But,
Anomalous.
but eventually, the pilots in their jet,
No,
they're
the turboprop. Yeah,
the turbo. The two plane pilots are whisked away from to red shirt heaven, and they Flash, who was talking about flying, has to fly the plane, and he's like, I was never taught how to land," and she's like, "Oh, I thought they taught you. I thought you knew how to fly," and he's like, "Well, they never taught me how to land." So he they crash into the laboratory of what they describe as a mad ex NASA scientist known as Dr. Hans Zarkov. Porkins is his assistant, and he believes they're under attack by a extraterrestrial threat. But Dr. Porkins thinks he's crazy and tries to run away, forgetting his toothbrush in the process.
Hmm.
So, but then he runs back in. He's like, Dr. Zarkov. And we see the plane crash into the building. And Zarkov takes this opportunity to basically hold Flash and Dale at gunpoint. And they go into the rocket. And they get in the scuffle. And then the rocket launches into space.
The Mighty Johnson.
Yes, the mighty, which looks like
looks like a huge pecker.
a Woody. Oh, so we get this really. Again, the Queen did some of the score. I think a lot of the orchestra stuff was done by someone else, but they contributed a lot to the music. And there's this really nice ballad where they're just kind of just like unconscious in space, and then they go into the kingdom of Mongo, and it just oozes 80s. Although I think this was filmed in 79.
Yeah, I mean, it was released in the 80s, so yeah, it was.
We then hold on.
We're holding.
The rocket is then guided to the planet of was it Mingo City? Ming Mingo. I need to make sure.
Mingo, mango, mongo.
Mongo just pawn in Game of
Okay.
Life.
So Mingo City, and they meet a party which is not keen on their presence there, and so they are arrested. And Dr. Zarkov hypothesizes, look at this. This kingdom just wants to be led by a revolutionary army. Maybe you can be that leader to Flash. And Flash is like, on your life. And funny,
Some nice foreshadowing there.
foreshadowing, some funny foreshadowing.
It's
But
fun.
this movie's kind of like self-indulgent, but I love it. Like Flash, he has a Flash T-shirt with the logo, and then the scene where he's like in his coffin, the logo's on the gravestone of the logo of the movie is on the gravestone. So I'm gonna pass. So I'm gonna pass the baton to Baron, who will continue from here.
So we're kind of we're at where they meet Ming for the first time in Mingo City on Mongo Mongo. So yeah, I mean they go in there and what you see is the various princes of the kingdoms are princedoms under Ming's rule. Um, Arborea, the Voltons, Hawk City, others. You can see that they don't necessarily get along with each other either. In fact, a fight almost breaks out on the floor where they're informed that nobody dies in that room unless Ming orders it. So they're basically back down. The first group come up and say that, hey, we don't have anything to offer you except for our loyalty. And Ming, of course, goes, "Is that case? Fall on your sword." Well, the guy goes through kind of his little soliloquy up there as he's got his sword out. And then he turns to swing the sword at Ming to kill him. And Ming puts him into a force field and takes the sword and runs him through with it. And he's carried off. Along the way, Flash says, "This guy's a psycho." On which the little flying rat rats him out there, saying, that, who said that? And it's like, the Earthman, the Earther. And he brings forward, and he's like, it's like, what we have here, and, especially the pretty girl here, and makes her do kind of an erotic moves with his ring with mind control.
Mhm.
And it breaks into a fight. And and he starts acting like a football player against a football team.
There's
right. Flash Gordon of the New York Jets versus Maine's Army.
Are they on the right fields?
Yeah,
All right.
maybe we need to execute their traitor.
Well, all right, we got some chats.
Yeah, hey.
Hey guys, sorry I couldn't be there for the movie watch party. Was busy at work. I intend to cover this though on my channel. All right,
Yeah,
Paul.
sorry about your work there. Yeah,
Sorry there. JT says, "Flash the public, Gordon. Flash the public, Gordon." But when you read the production on this movie, the creators of this movie seem to complain about the direction. Like, they complain, is it a campy parody, or is it a serious movie, or, is it doing this or that? And, and they end up using all those ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, it works.
Mm-hmm.
Works. This movie has so many quotable lines. I even said during the watch party, like every word that comes out of Ming's mouth that you could repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually can't say the same for something like Star Wars. I mean, you could repeat all the lines from Empire Strikes Back, but this movie has a vocabulary, a dictionary of memorable lines and quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, now,
It does. A lot of them
but
coming from Brian Blessed and Max Macedo. I mean, really, honestly, you look at that.
the acting is very on par too. We
Mm-hmm.
had Max von Sydow and Peter Wingard as his secret police leader, General Clytus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he was great. And it's kind of, people make mention about, the big thing about this film is, you don't get to see his porn stash because what he was known for, always having a big, huge, 1970s porn stash on him.
Pathetic Earthlings.
Mm-hmm. And his voice, I mean, his voice was, you know, how he projected wearing that mask. Anyone who sits back and says, I can't handle having my face covered, I can't emote, I can't do, it's like, then why can somebody like Peter Wingard do it with Clytus?
Because he's able to emote with his voice.
Yes. Yeah. He's got that wonderful voice.
That's what good voice actors do. They
Mm-hmm.
aren't in front of the camera; they're behind the microphone recording their lines, and
Mm-hmm.
they emote with their voice.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of actors use that excuse because they want to have their face seen. And it's like, well, if Anthony Daniels can do a 3PO, if of course, Peter Wingard with this part with Clytus, and let's take a look at Dredd with Urban. I mean, if these people can do stuff behind masks or partially masked throughout the entire movie, don't tell me you can't do it. You can do it. You just don't want to. You have an ego trip. I understand it. You got an ego trip. I mean, you're an actor, actress. You want to be seen on the screen, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are the roles where you sit back and go, "Wow!" If they grab you in those roles, it's because they know how to act and move and talk and everything.
That's the thing. A lot of actors back then did know how to move and talk and relate to the audience what the character is thinking, what the character is
Hmm.
feeling.
Right?
I don't believe that there are too many actors now that can do that.
No.
No. Oh,
Well, I mean, you take a look. Anthony Daniels. He was a mime. What do they work? What do they work with? Being able to express themselves by their movements, and he brought that into the part with 3PO. Peter Wingard is just in general was a great actor. He was kind of he could be over the top, as you might say, or he could be serious. It doesn't matter, but he was a great actor. Uh, yeah, I think it's come to the point where people do pseudo, um, what do they call it? Method acting now,
mm-hmm.
and they're not even doing proper method acting. They're just kind of doing a pseudo.
All right. Sorry, stream. I was busy doing something. All right, back to what I was saying. Back to where we were. But he, Mr. Ming, Mr. Ming,
Mr. Ming.
Mr.
Mr.
Ming
Ming.
says, "Are they on the right pills?" As like they're already on steroids.
Mm,
No, perhaps you should execute that trainer.
I think so.
So yeah, Flash has the upper hand, but then Zarkov accidentally throws it to his head and bonks him. And then we meet Ming's daughter, who takes a keen interest, and she is very, very
Italian.
Humana.
humana. Yeah, yep, they make that clear. uh, and she's interested in Flash, but Ming says no, she's too dangerous for your appetite. Um, so we get this scene where they're gonna execute Flash, and they have a heartfelt,
Goodbye.
have a heartfelt goodbye, and then Flash is executed.
Oh no!
Oh no.
And there's a very good line here where Dale's crying, and the princess does not understand what tears are, and
It
Ming
means
says,
that it's a sign of weakness.
it's a sign of weakness.
They're weak.
Weakness. All right. Well, and from here, so for this part, I'm going to give it to my friend Pacific 40104.
Pacific the Merciless.
Well, the hero Flash is executed, and if you could move the scenes, because that kind of helps me too a little bit. He's executed, and then we see his tomb, and it has Flash Gordon. He's from Earth. He's now dead. They're going to bury him. But then, who should come to his aid but the lovely princess?
The hell you say?
Yes. And she instructs this guy to revive Flash Gordon. And he's worried about...
there, and sorry to stop you, but she's also sleeping with him.
She gets around. She does get around.
She sleeps around the universe. Yep.
But this gentleman is told to revive Flash Gordon, and of course she's worried about getting caught. She says, "Don't worry about it." They smooch, and then after he leaves, she smooches with Flash Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
And well, if smooches work to wake up Sleeping Beauty and Snow White, they wake up Flash Gordon in reverse.
Mm.
So,
oh yeah, they woke him up all right.
They're leaving. They're trying to get away. Of course, they see the doctor, and his mind's about to be reprogrammed. And of course, Flash wants to rescue him, but the princess says, "We don't have time. If my father finds out that I'm helping you, I could be executed." So we find out that Ming wants to reprogram the doctor's mind, so he's a subordinate under his command. And look at this shot right here. Look at the eyes. The eyes tell you everything.
Mm-hmm.
I judge that system ignorant and harmless. I spare it.
Because the doctor is trying to plead for, the attack to cease on Earth. So then, we have this, dialogue, and after that happens, then the general comes with his second in command, and he tells her, reprogram his mind to level 3 and only level 3, because I don't believe that the human mind can take any higher level.
And then she says level 6.
Mm-hmm.
She completely disobeys his orders.
Do you think it was because level 6 his mind wasn't wiped properly?
Yeah. And also something that the doctor mentions
the human
later
spirit
in the movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But as the doctor's mind is supposedly being rewritten, we're seeing all these images from what's in his mind, all the knowledge that he has, and his life experiences, life, death, happiness, all that.
All the good things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we see that, and we're led to believe that he's reprogrammed.
it should say. I thought that was kind of really deep when they were going. You find out he's actually a Holocaust survivor, and then they're like, "Oh, we like that guy," referring to a certain German.
they're like a certain Yahtzee.
Yeah, the little Austrian colonel, corporal, little Austrian corporal.
Yeah, and
And then, of course, we see here the princess with Flash and Bow Chicka Wow Wow.
Mm-hmm.
oh yes,
Any port in the storm, I guess.
Oh yeah.
So, she's teaching Flash how to fly this spacecraft, telling him, that if he moves the left lever, it'll help turn the vessel, and if he moves the right one, it will help elevate the vessel.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns into a makeout session.
Of
And
course.
then she goes into her seat, and she's got this device that allows her to communicate through telepathy. And Flash says, I want to learn how to do that. I want to use that so I can contact Dell, let her know I'm still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she says no. And then Flash says, come on.
Come on,
So-
man.
come on. I'll let you get some skin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Pretty much. And then Flash does end up communicating with Dale through telepathy, saying, I'm still alive. We're heading toward this planet where we're going to try to, start a rebellion.
Rebels scum.
And Crit, I'll let you take over.
All right. So, continuing where Pacific left off,
Where are you?
she gets the recap of what's going on with Flash. Flash actually accidentally reveals he has a stiffy to the princess, and she's like, "What? What did you say?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing." He's like,
he wants his joystick played with.
I find the princess more attractive than Dale. I'll say, hey Dale, I like you, but I'm gonna go with the manga. So sorry, I have to make a choice here. Would you rather be in the pleasure tower, or would you rather save Earth?
Why can't I have both?
She tricks. So she tricks a handmaiden into drinking some heavy ass alcohol. And Zarkov is not really brainwashed, but then they go to Dagobah, the Dagobah system.
Arborea.
Arborea. I Endor mixed with no, it's Arborea. Meanwhile,
I see what you did there. Meanwhile.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ming is like, "Oh boy, I'm gonna get some hanky panky," and then he finds out it's his other handmaiden, even though she's more pretty than Dale. So, and he's like, "Where is she?"
Wow, you're poor Melody Anderson. Crit hates Canadians.
I'll ask you guys. Do you think the handmaiden is more attractive than Dale?
I'll take all three of them.
Yeah.
There's my answer.
All right.
I'm greedy.
Yeah. Dale has some gymnastics getting away. Where can I find that shot? Oh, here it is. Or is
Strong female character, folks. This is back in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
So she it looks like she broke her foot.
Mm.
Well, let's watch that again. Did she break her foot doing that shot? That's not her. It's a stunt double. But
I was gonna say.
I was gonna say if the stunt double was in gymnastics or in ballet.
yeah, it looks like she Did she break her foot?
I don't
It's like
know.
it's like her foot goes inward. Hold on, we have to analyze this.
Uh oh.
This we can't. Okay, here we go. Now
Orca power.
watch the right foot leg.
Yeah.
It's
Watching.
too bad we can't draw the lines on the screen like for analyzing
Here
a
we
football game.
go. Here we go. There, right there.
I don't think it's broke.
I think
Maybe
she's just flexible.
All
Mm.
right.
Oh my.
They find out Flash is alive because she's a blabbermouth to Zarkov, and they don't know Zarkov's betrayed them. So they relay this to Ming, and Ming's like, "Find them." And General Clytus is like, "I have my suspicions, but would you allow me to do this?" And he's like, "I want nothing," because Clytus already knows the princess revived Flash.
Yeah.
He's onto it. He wants the princess for himself. He reminds me of Tarkin. He kind of,
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's not bad comparison.
he's sniffing some gloves or something. So they go to Arborea and they see all these men moaning and
Moaning and bemoaning.
and they do this ritual where they put their hand in a tree and there's a monster that kind of stings them like a scorpion, and if they get stung, they're basically dead. So I guess the goal is to keep your hand in the stump as long as you can.
Or at least go in the right hole so you don't get stabbed.
Yeah, or face death. The young man gets killed. He asks James
For
Bond
release.
or Prince Baron to stab him. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I look a lot like Timothy Dalton, folks. I mean, we get confused. People confuse me and him all the time.
Very good casting.
Oh,
It reminds me of a young Errol Flynn. Timothy Dalton reminds me of Errol Flynn or Douglas Fairbanks. Yeah, this is a role that the character just reminds me of those actors from the 1940s and 1920s. But Baron is upset because he thinks she loves Flash, and he's upset that she just brought him to Arborea. She says, "Wait for me," and she goes back to. Obviously, she doesn't realize that Clytus is onto her. Zarkov reveals that his mind was never wiped. It was wiped, but then he remembered everything about his life. So the human spirit,
because of the Beatles, William Shakespeare, and
he kept on reciting stuff over and over again to try to have the mind wipe not be effective.
Baron doesn't care what the princess says and puts him in a prison cell. And she's basically tortured by Clytus, and she doesn't realize her father authorized the beating. And then we get the line, "Not the boar worms." We never see the boar worms.
They were going to show them. They were going to show them, but they didn't have the budget for it. That's a sad thing.
I would have, I just imagine them like I imagine them like the worms from the Wrath of Khan.
Actually, if they had the scene go about, they were supposed to induce such high level of sexual pleasure that it was beyond pleasure, and that's what they intended to have with the boar worms. I was told, what I read about. So,
oh wow, that's kinky as shit.
Well, look at them; they're all kinky. I mean, look at her.
But they but she ends up writing a confession, and she gets the boar worms. We don't see the boar worms, unfortunately.
No. Mm-hmm.
Maybe on a maybe in fan art, but
I don't know. Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. Maybe AI art can make the boar worms. Who knows?
Ooh, there we go.
Ooh, yeah.
The boar worms. We're the boar worms. Hello, everyone. We're the boar worms.
So they decide to. So the Hawkmen kidnap Zarkov and the princess and take them to their city. Meanwhile, Flash is rescued by Richard O'Brien, who you might remember from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, one of my favorite lines is Ara is not killed, but she will be banished to Phrygia, which is kind of like the Ice Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, a year in the caverns of ice will cool her heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's their version of Hoth.
Basically, but we don't see the planet. We
Or
only see a model of it.
Repente.
Yeah, Rural Penta. Yeah.
Go.
Now, a lot of these places you saw in the serials, but of course, not in the movie. Obviously, you couldn't get everything in there because
Maybe
of all.
if the sequel was made and Sam Jones hadn't had his issues, I'm sure we would have got a sequel.
Oh yeah, him and Dino De Laurentiis, and the reason why his voice was dubbed is because when he needed to do the various voiceovers that you need to do because of noises or such, Sam Jones didn't come back, so they figured, oh, we'll just do the whole thing then, and someone else.
Dino De Laurentiis, from what I heard, and I've done stuff on like King Kong. He's kind of a dick.
Oh yeah,
he was kind of a dick back then.
Mm-hmm.
He's passed away now, but
yeah. So he's not as much of a dick now, but I mean, yeah, he was. He really well. I mean, a lot of those guys were, that gave us so many of these films. I mean, you take a look at the old classic eras and such like that. These guys were pricks. I mean, they really were. But they knew talent and they knew how to bring things forward, and we got greater entertainment because of it.
Mm-hmm. But Dale, I want your guys' well, I'm not hold on. Well, right here. We get to the Hawkman City, and they meet the Prince Voltan, who is played by Brian Blessed, who played Boss Nass in the Star Wars prequels. But to me, this is his. This is probably his best role that everyone knows him for.
Yeah, and it's it is probably his favorite, I think he said on it. You would have seen him in stuff like I, Claudius, Doctor Who, Blake 7, Space 1999. I mean, he's in all sorts of stuff. And of course, even the Kenneth Branagh's, some of his Shakespearean movies that he did, he was in those as well.
And then we get the line. Oh, slowish.
Our weapons are inferior. We need another year's preparation.
Ming's not unbeatable. With all his men, he couldn't even kill Flash.
Gordon's alive.
Yes.
Yes. Gordon's alive.
He loves saying that when he's out and about, That's probably I think the one line he's always asked for to say.
So they realize Gordon's alive. Flash and the Prince continue their rivalry. He has him do the test of endurance, but Flash fools him, and they have kind of
acts like he got stunned, and
acts like he's got stung and disarms him. And then they have a little chase around the Arborea, also known as the Dagobah system. I was expecting Yoda to appear. No.
Dagobah meets
Run, you will.
Meets Dune.
Away you will go.
David Lynch Dune. And then there's this weird creature that.
Oh, that's sweet. He wants cuddles.
he was. That's a cuddle honey. Like, I love you.
Love you. And then, meanwhile, Clytus is on the trail for
Flash.
Flash.
Ah.
Voltan kidnaps Baron and Flash and takes them to the Hawk City. Clytus finds out where they are heading, and takes his little nap.
Wake me when it's in sight.
Yes, sir.
Well, he needs rest. Being an evil henchman,
Look at the design. That's very. I think these are matte paintings.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could tell that that's a matte painting, but look how they were done back then. Very detailed.
Well, I think the clouds in the back is where they did those, like the Meteor Nebula, where you have kind of the colored water in a tank and get that swirl, so it gives that effect. And of course, the city itself is a model because we see it get blown up.
Yeah,
sadly. But
I think the ice planet's in the background. It's not really a planet; it's a kingdom. It's the
Phrygia, and those are probably those are probably paintings or whatever. It's kind of hard because it's a lot of that's so surrealistic that they do it in there and beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So Baron and Baron had, by the way, Voltan has a rivalry with Baron. He's not really a big fan of him, so he wants to kill Baron or give him to Ming for treachery. But according to law, his prisoner has the right to challenge another. So Baron challenges Flash, and we get this really good. This reminds me of something you would see in a serial, a fight scene, kind of, where they're fighting over an endless abyss. There's spikes.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd go ahead and play it.
Yeah, there we go. That looked about right.
That's perfect. The laughter on top. So they
he's a happy Hawk man.
So they continue their fight until Flash saves Baron's life, and Baron decides to change his mind, and he's like, "Oh well, this Flash ain't really a bad guy after all."
And he says, "I have a YouTube channel called Fandomology. Do you want to be on it?"
Yeah. Please. I would really like that.
Fandomology. Doesn't that have a history to it? But by then, we are wondering why Cash and some others are not present, because this movie so far has us hooked. But I shouldn't be mentioning that. But Clytus makes the mistake of trying to be a boss and come alone. He's like, "You would be liquidated for treachery, Zarkov." And he says some things to Baron, and Baron's had enough of this shit, and Flash and him throw him on the spikes.
This is. I'm sorry. That's cool. That was cool.
A really cool death scene. The first step forward. Voltan
He gets
is
it.
like, Voltan realizes, oh man, we gotta go, and then they they start to leave the kingdom. They plan on parachuting down. Apparently, Arborea is right under the Hawkman city, and kind of confusing. Are all the cities like by height, not by height, but
I don't know.
but Ming actually somehow gets there in time. I guess he has teleportation powers, and
Mhm.
Ming is interested in Flash in that he wants to offer him a kingdom. He doesn't want to kill him, but he says, well, there's an alternative. You can have a kingdom, etc., etc. Flash obviously, says no. I'd rather save the Earth and be the savior of the universe. And
Mhm.
Yeah, he also mentions how by the time Earth gets there, they're going to need a leader, and you're the perfect one to rule over them in their weakened
Mhm.
state.
Yes.
I feel like if I think Ming would go back on his promise, but Flash could have a little been more pushy about saving the Earth. Even
Well,
then,
I mean, he had a perfect chance just to shove Ming off the edge there. I mean, he goes right to the edge, looking down, kicking there, and Flash is, it's like, well, if I'm gonna, I'm gonna die anyways. I'll take this bastard with me.
the one unfortunate thing about this movie is Flash and Ming never get a really proper fight scene there. In the comics and I think in the serials they had some sword fights,
Mhm.
but they never really have a one-on-one duel, which is good, which is not bad, because Ming dies in a very interesting way at the end of this movie.
Yeah, like the bee that he is.
But
Little
Ming says, "I'm just gonna leave you here. Enjoy the light show." And basically, the whole city is bombed. And he goes down the slide, and he finds a scooter, or I think it's a
sky bike.
sky rocket cycle. It was called. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
Sky cycle, I thought they called it, or somewhere along those lines.
Voltan regrets letting. They're kind of upset. They let Flash just die. They think that he died. But Flash reveals he's alive.
He's alive, and Ted's with him.
Flying blind on a rocket cycle.
Flying blind on a rocket cycle?
He's got such a great voice.
He
I wish
does.
I had Brian Blizzard's voice. If there's one thing
We
I
are
wish.
in a ball. Hey, for giving a dumb old bird a second chance.
I love how he says that.
So we're getting near the end of the movie where the Hawkmen, Ming is going to prepare Dale for a wedding, and
I just love weddings.
I do too.
And Ming's daughter and Dale become friends.
First, they have a cat fight.
Yeah.
They have a cat fight.
Yeah.
Wow. I think
Meow.
Melody Anderson is, what, in real life. So maybe,
I
I
don't
don't know if she enjoyed this. So I don't know. Let me see.
He's checking, folks.
I'm checking. I don't want to say things about people. Okay. Well, maybe I'm thinking of Gillian Anderson. No, Gillian Anderson. I think I'm wrong. I'm assuming stuff. I'm assuming.
Remember, send all complaints to Crit.
Gillian Anderson was. Gillian Anderson's British American.
Yeah.
I didn't know she was British. All right. Well. But back to the story.
We'll get off of Grit's sexual fetishes now, and
I need to put a disclaimer like what Pacific does. We need to investigate this stuff. But they
hug it out.
They hug it out, and they get the line, General Kala, Flash Gordon is approaching. What do you mean Flash Gordon is approaching? And they scare off Flash away from the city. Flash goes back and he lures a really cool looking 1940s serial looking rocket. And
I love that shot.
And
love how it comes toward the camera.
Yes, very good. Yes, very good effects. Even some people's it's all part of the charm. People don't realize it's made like this on purpose.
Yes,
it's not trying to. It's an A movie trying to be a B movie, but succeeds as being an A movie. That's how well I've seen people try to say that this movie is just bad, and like, well, it's not bad. It's just made. It's like what Jessica Rabbit says. I'm not bad. I was just drawn that way. This movie is not bad. It was just made that way. So don't confuse intention over unintentional.
They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were making.
Stop!
And then we get the final battle against War Ajax and the Hawkmen. And the Hawkmen basically attack this. And we get a really rockin' Queen score. It's like bread and butter.
Oh, well. Who
wants to live forever?
I love that line.
Mm-hmm. And it's how he says it, though. That's what makes it. It's like, oh, well, who wants to live forever? Oh, what a great actor.
They capture the ship, head back. Meanwhile, the princess once again somehow rescues Baron and Zarkov, and
she can rescue me anytime.
Yeah, she can rescue me. Well, we said during the stream, can I get in line?
And one of the thing about it is talking about strong women. The General Kala, she's a strong villainess.
Mm-hmm.
You take a look at her. Yeah, I mean, it's got the confidence and how she projects everything. So it's not just the heroines that are they're supposed to be strong. The villain should be just as strong as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Lord knows she was. I thought she was very good in that role.
But coming to the end, we get a really cool Queen cover of the wedding theme.
Yeah.
Down.
I always wondered, how did they know that when I was watching when I was younger? I didn't quite get it. It's like, oh, that's right. Now I understand. It's just satire camp. It's fun.
Yeah.
Just freaking relax already.
It's fun. This movie's just fun. Don't give it too much thought. It's not like a Paul W.S. Anderson movie. It's sit back and relax.
It's not trying to be Schindler's List.
No.
Oh boy. That movie.
It's not trying to get deep in any way, shape, or form. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be escapism.
It's a popcorn film. What we need.
It's pure fun and entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're approaching the end. Flash believes that he's going to get destroyed through the shield, so the Hawkmen basically follow the rocket ship. Baron, however, disables the shield last second, while also killing General Kala, who's revealed to be Black Ooze. Her true form.
Oh, you mean she's Artemis? Not only does she melt here, but she also kills Tasha Yar.
Bad.
Okay, I know.
So they destroy the shield. Flash crashes through the wedding and stabs Ming in the chest.
Mm.
And Ming
And he's got green blood. He's a Vulcan.
Yeah.
he's
Well,
supposed to be a lizard.
the one had purple blood when he stabbed him. You know,
Yeah.
the tramp freighter from Return of the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean,
And Ming basically Ming gives his final words. My life is not for any earthling to give or take.
ooh,
And then
big
he
talk for dying.
offs his ring offs himself, and that's the end of Ming with a question mark. And the Earth is saved.
Yep, the floating droid comes in and says that the Earth is saved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hail, Flash,
Hold on.
savior of the universe.
I-
Long live Flash. You've saved your Earth.
You saved your life. There we go.
Have a nice day.
I love that. Have a nice day.
I love that shot right there.
Yeah.
Baron becomes king of Mongo. Everything is saved. Voltan becomes generals. They don't know how they're going to get back to Earth, but they
Dale
might
says she's a New York City girl.
she's in New York City. Oh, not all lines are good in this movie, but I know I gotta be that way. There's some cringe lines. Not
Yeah.
every line works.
Yeah, but that's what's fun about it. Sometimes you need a little cringe.
Mm. And Flash basically saved the day and the kingdom, and that's the end.
Tell me more
Flash.
about this Houdini.
And that was a fun movie to rewatch. This was a wonderful film.
I mean, I've watched this film more than I've watched Star Wars, believe it or not. Especially when it was on cable, you could just watch it on cable over and over again. And to the point that my dad got upset that why are you constantly watching it? Well, because it was fun. It was great. It was colorful. It assaulted the senses in the correct way. And, just love this movie. It is a masterpiece for what it's supposed to be. It really is. Underrated on the American market. It did well on the foreign markets. Just the American market didn't really take off, which is why we never got the sequel.
It got popular on television and
Right.
DVD.
Right. And videotapes, yeah, and exactly, just like a lot of stuff did. I mean, the reason why, stuff like Highlander and Blade Runner and Tron and all these films, they didn't do good in the theaters, but when they hit cable and then VHS and, of course, later, like you said, DVD, that's where they had the quote-unquote cult following.
Exactly.
And that was one of the good things about having these channels, because they needed to have fillers or whatever, and this was it.
Yeah, and we need fun movies like this again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where we can just go into the theater, sit back, relax, have fun, eat our popcorn and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and just enjoy ourselves.
Right.
If this, Mike said it before, but I think if this ever got a re-release, y'all should see it. I think it was re-released. It was re-released. I don't know if they'll do it again, but they re-released it a couple of years ago for the 4K release.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, they do it again, because I would really like to see this on the big screen.
Yeah. I mean, this film's 43 years old, and it holds up. Just like Star Trek Wrath of Khan, being 40-some years. It holds up. Visually and story-wise, and everything about these films. And it's sad that so many now don't want to even take a look at it because they think these films are old and bad. It's like, no, they're not.
Well, they've
Honestly,
heard other reviewers, even on this platform, say, "Oh, you shouldn't even bother with Flash Gordon because it's a
right?
terrible movie." No, it's not. Give it
No,
a chance. Judge it for
right,
yourself. That's the best way
hmm
to do it. Judge it for yourself.
right. I mean, there's a reason why we have the films that we have today. I mean, people trying to capture what there was, and it's they're not doing it, folks. They're not succeeding in that effort at all. Just watch these films. Honestly, I'm not saying you're going to like every one of them, but like I said before, even the films we didn't like back then, we walked away and didn't say that. Well, we wasted our time with it. It was still in some fashion fun. So,
And here's the thing: we've even had movies that we walked away from where we didn't like it when we initially saw it, but maybe a few years down the road we watch it again and we see something about it that we didn't see while watching it in the theaters, and we
mhm,
actually appreciate it.
right. That's exactly. I mean, just
Mhm.
like episodes of television shows. When you come back and start watching an episode of something, it's like, oh, I missed that. You know.
That'll never happen for Move Along Home. Never.
Nope.
Move along home.
I know they say never, but for that episode of DS9, never.
Never. Never.
It had good potential, but really horrible execution.
But uh again, I want to thank I'm glad we covered this, and we're going to be wrapping it up here. I always strive to keep these streams a little, we don't want to go over how the movie runtime, but this was pretty good, an hour and 12 minutes so far.
Mhm.
So I want to thank Baron and Pacific, and I wish he was here. I also want to thank Phil McCracken,
Yeah.
who was in the watch party but could not really join us for the stream today.
Mhm.
I want to also thank the people in the chat, which was Master Paul. Sorry he couldn't be here. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
You-
work.
Yeah.
I know what
And-
that's like.
And JT Lovecraft, thanks for popping in.
Mhm.
But we are going to continue this review series, and Pacific's going to also do his own individual movie reviews and watch parties, and we're gonna do kind of a circle of life.
Oh, I'm glad you said circle of life. I thought you were going to say something else with the circle.
Oh boy,
Yeah, exactly.
What? Circling the drain? I'm going to
No,
say
I
it.
thought
I'm going to say it.
I was going to say jerk, but that's beside the point.
Okay, so that wasn't what you were thinking. Okay.
No, I wasn't. I was thinking. Sorry, I went really in the gutter with what I was thinking.
But to end this, our next stream will not be next week. It'll be on the 9th.
Ooh.
Unless by popular demand we do in our stream, but we already have picked our next movie. The next movie we'll be reviewing is a classic. And have you ever heard of a Smith and Wesson?
No, never. What's one of those?
What's a Smith and Wesson? Who's Smith? Who's Wesson?
Well, let me tell you. This is a 44 Magnum. Feeling lucky, punk?
The most powerful handgun ever made and can shoot your head clean off. Now you're probably wondering, did he fire 5 shots or 6? So,
Isn't there a Cardassian in this movie?
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
Yep.
Plain, simple Garrick.
Oh,
the
yeah.
The next movie we will be watching is the Clint Eastwood movie Dirty Harry, and that also has Andrew Robinson from Deep Space Nine, and it will be a treat, a classic. This will not. We've covered sci-fi. We're now going to be covering gritty action film, a really good action film. So next.
Yeah, and remember, pop is more than just comics, science fiction, fantasy, video games.
Mm-hmm.
Pop culture runs the gamut of everything. Films,
Hmm.
TV shows that are not in relation, like Dirty Harry itself, or Death Wish with Charles Bronson. If you want to go into those gritty type of movies, or TV shows that we liked in the past that have nothing to do with science fiction. So
that will be our next movie.
yeah,
Hopefully, our full group will be for that. I'll also try to get Cash's thoughts on Flash Gordon. I said I would show it to him in case he didn't make it to the stream. So,
yeah,
uh,
I fell asleep. Sorry about that.
yeah,
I was
Ching, Emperor Ching.
I
But
fell asleep on the keyboard, and now I got all these keyboard marks on my face. Sorry, just
but
teasing, Cash. We love you.
we love you, Cash. Uh, but
Ah,
Savior of the Discord, now, or Savior of the stream.
of Twitter of the Twitterverse, savior
Of
of
the
the
Twitter.
Twitterverse.
Oh yes, he loves to be on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
But Pacific disappeared. Is he
what?
back yet?
I don't know. Am I Pacific's keeper? I'm not his keeper.
No, we'll give him a little bit.
Okay. Oh, where could Pacific the Merciless
If
be?
you're listening to the stream, the next stream I will do will be in my Discord. So, again, if y'all hit that link, I'll be free to open the Discord. We've been doing it privately because this was a small group, but again, I want to invite anyone to join these streams. One of these days, if it's on YouTube, we're gonna do like what Pacific does and do a watch party with a timer,
Oh yeah,
with
yeah.
commentary. This one we couldn't, or we could have, but not everyone would have been able to participate because I own the movie.
He does.
But some people might not be able to view it. If it's all free on YouTube, then everyone will be able to watch it, like a Strange Brew.
Good day.
Yeah, eh? So we're gonna end it, and I want to thank everyone for coming on. Again, I have a new logo, a new motto. We are going to deep dive into pop culture.
Oh God, that's horrible. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm gonna deep dive into your brain.
Watch that dorsal fin.
So this is Baron and this is Pacific, and we're all gonna bid you a farewell. So thank you all for coming. Cash, savior of the Twitterverse.
Welcome to Everest Productions.